Hi guys, bringing you a video today on the 1937 pattern web equipment made out in India during the Second World War. The webbing was made for use by not only the British Indian Army, but also was used by British troops fighting out in Burma and training in India, of course. It made a lot of sense to use web equipment made out in India by local factories, opposed to shipping in equipment from Europe. And the equipment is very much, you can see it was the factories that produced it were not traditionally used to producing webbing equipment. Bata is a good example of a shoe manufacturer. The quality of the equipment shows up, but it was rough and ready and it did the job. We'll have a look at some of the details and see how it differs from British made 1937 pattern webbing. The set I have laid out here is marching order. We'll remove the pack, look at it in battle order, and then I'll have a look at the pack separately. I've now got it in battle order with the haversack worn on the back in place of the pack. But I'll unhook that for the minute and we'll have a look at that separately in a second, and I'll bring the pack back to have a separate look at in a minute. Now, the basic overall design, as I say, is the same. There are several ways of telling Indian made webbing. You quite often, as you can see here, there's a stripe in the actual weave of the webbing. The cross straps, the loop where they cross over is stitched to the back rather than the inside face, so it's not against your back, it's on the outside face as you wear it. The brass work is often in not the best quality. The quality of manufacture, as you can see here on the buckle here, it's very rough. The webbing tip and everything on the water bottle carrier. I'll have a look at each component individually now and run you through some of the markings and things you can see. On the braces, one of the biggest manufacturers was Bata Shoe Company, which I believe was Czech shoe manufacturer who set up a factory in India before the war, and it was put to producing, again you can see the stripe in the webbing here, it was put to producing webbing during the Second World War. 43 there, I think you can see. This was a little bit better stamped. 1943, if you can see that very well. Both made by Bata. The basic pouches, I'll just bring in another item here to have a look at as well. The basic pouches come in two basic types, unlike the British, which come in three wartime types. You've got the Indian Mark 1, which is similar to the British made Mark 1, no drain holes in the bottom, similar sort of size, mounted low on the belt, so the belt hooks are quite high up in the middle here. Ballistite ammunition loops in the flat ballistite, blanks being for firing rifle grenades from a cup launcher. The later type, the second type, have drain holes in the bottom, but they're still mounted quite low on the belt. If I put the hooks parallel, they're still mounted roughly the same height on the belt. They're a little bit higher up, but not by much. The Indians started producing 1937 pattern in around 1941, but using canvas and webbing. 42 you see quite a lot of proper webbing material being made. Then 1944 seems to be the date that the second issue ammunition pouches went into production. So that's a rough sort of timeline for these. One thing I love about collecting Indian webbing is that not only the quality differences, the press studs often have different designs on them. So you can see a flower here. This one's it's slightly better actually. It's not as heavily worn. The one over here has a quite heavily faded sort of geometric star pattern on it. That's been smoothed off with polishing, and you do get ones that look like the normal new press studs as well. So yes, that's the Indian pouches. I'll just pause the video for a second and make it a little easier to look at the belt and the other bits and pieces. So the belt is made in basic 1937 pattern form, back loops to adjust. See all the brass work, buckles at the back here. The brass work on this is actually in quite good condition, with one exception, which I will show in a second. Look at the back side, look at the stamps. The markings unfortunately are quite faded, but There we go. The major feature on here, which is low in quality, and you don't always see this, is that rather than being the sort of a squared off loop on the buckle, it's just a curve. So when it fits in here, it doesn't fit quite as neatly over the brass there as you would normally see on a British made belt, and it's actually slightly thinner. The webbing itself is slightly thinner, lighter weight, but that's not always the case, just this particular example. So that's the belt. Frogs, I'll bring one in here and bring another one in here. This is the standard early design of 1937 pattern frog for the sword bayonet. 1943 I think on there, or 42 perhaps. It's had the hole put in the upper loop very untidily to take the spike bayonet frog with the single smaller button there, and in 1944 with the introduction of the No. 4 rifle and the No. 4 bayonet, the associated socket bayonet, they did produce, you see 1944 dated here, they did produce a simple bayonet frog for the No. 4 bayonet as well, because the No. 4 was being issued alongside the SMLE in the Far East by that point, although the SMLE still dominated the rifle No. 1 Mark III. So that's the two different styles of frog you see. And finally, for the basic webbing set, you've got the bottle, an Indian made bottle. So you've got the brasswork here, as you can see, very poor quality. Buckle rather than a press stud to fix at the top. And the Indian bottle has this neck design. It's similar to the British aluminium bottle, the neck design here, and this type of cork with a wooden top to it. So that's the Indian bottle and carrier. I'll probably separate these now and just show you the markings a little better. Here we have the bottle out of its carrier, and we can see on the bottom here MCT 1943. So you can see the basic form and everything there. Not part of the equipment itself, but associated with it. Okay, so here we have the haversack. Basically standard 1937 pattern form. There's very little, there's no detailed differences in the actual design itself. You see a stamp in the flap there, divided into 3 compartments as for the mess tins and soft kit, as the 1937 pattern haversack is. The standard design, supported by L straps when worn on the back, carried on the brace ends with buckles on the side when worn in marching order. The L straps, these dated, these stamped as well I think. Barter, again, probably the most common manufacturer to find. 1943, nice clear stamp there. Not sure if the other one is it. You tend to see with Indian webbing as well, they didn't produce reduction woven webbing typically, so you sections stitched on, folded for the braces and the L straps and so on. Again, the brass work, as you can see, is sort of very heavily crimped in, but not, there's lots of sharp edges. It's not particularly great finish. The buckles on this aren't too bad. It's not something, they weren't produced to get a mirror shine from. They were very much produced for use. As you can see here, it's let's see if we can find one of these has particularly good. Oh, there we go. You can see as well. This is a rather nice example of the brass work. The Indians quite often stamped the brasses as well. You can see the 1942, not uncommon to see. So that's another good indicator of Indian made webbing, apart from the overall look and the quality. So there's the haversack, and we'll have a look now at the pack. It's of course not technically a piece of 1937 pattern equipment. It's originally part of the 1908 webbing equipment and was still designated as such, although it is compatible using the L straps to wear on the back. Obviously you've got the 2 supporting straps which go across there, Indian made. You can see again this striped sort of finish to the webbing and on the pack as well. These are very common to find, the packs. The Indian made packs are very common to find So you can see here on the back very clearly the stripe to the webbing material. Then it's exactly the same as the normal. You've got the two little buckles up here for the supporting straps, these straps here to attach onto the L straps, and obviously the supporting straps then come around the bottom and attach onto the L straps. So I'll get this open. I've got it just padded out now to make it a little easier to look at. I'll get it open now and have a look at the stamps in it. So starting here with the supporting straps, you can see they're quite nicely stamped BSC 1942 D and N. I'm not sure if that is a month stamp to show the actual month they were produced in 1942. If someone knows, I'd be very grateful to if you pass the information on. Same with the actual company name. But you can see both made by the same company, but they're slightly different. You know, the detail here, the amount of webbing that's turned over and the number of rows of stitching varies slightly. The brass work on these again is, you can see stamped here, but the actual quality, you can see the sort of the rough and ready finish, but they did the job. So you have here 1943, and that's KE something there. I can't, unfortunately the stamp fades out so halfway along there, and that's just underneath the flap of the pack. You can see here the markers for where the straps were to be put on still show up on the you can see where the buckle was to line up with, the end of the strap was to line up with those dots, and you can still see them on here, which is quite nice. I put a very watered down layer of Blanco on this for use. You tend to see in jungle conditions Blanco being a powdered coating, a painted on coating essentially, did come off, did wash out, so it's slightly darker than the original webbing colour was, as you can see here compared, but not much, the idea being to show the effect of the Blanco having washed out. So there we have the Indian-made 1937 pattern web equipment, a British design which actually outlasted British India. It was still in use by the Indian Army into the 1970s, hence the dates and the title of this video. And they sit in the 1971 Indo-Pakistan War. So yes, I'm not quite sure exactly when it was replaced, but in service for a long time, and as I say, it did outlast colonial rule in India. So there we are. I hope you found that interesting, and until next time, bye for now.